In this video, I'm starting the hardcore world that I've always wanted. My goal is to build the perfect cozy farming island that has everything I need to survive. And here we are in our brand new survival world. We've got the sun coming up in the distance over there, and we have spawned in a beautiful forest. As far as spawn points go, I think we've got quite lucky here, but enough admiring the scenery. We have a big yellow thing in the sky over there, which is going to go down pretty soon if we are not careful. So, I am going to pick a random direction and chop down this tree here, and with that wood, we can create the first crafting table of the world. I think that officially marks the beginning of our new journey. Let me just grab a wooden pick real quick. Then, I am just going to pop over here and dig this stone uppy, so that way we can craft some lovely stone tools instead. But even though I was off to a good start, I was definitely worried about the incoming first night. So, I decided before anything else it was a good idea to hunt for some sheep so that way I could craft a bed and safely sleep through the first night. Not going to lie, I was starting to get a little bit worried there. Someone was getting kind of low. But we made it, so not bad. And bado bing bado bum, we got a bed. So, I had safely avoided the first night, but was already struggling to cook my food. Therefore, I figured the best course of action was to locate a nearby cave opening to quickly grab some coal for our furnace and maybe even a little bit of iron for later. And I am pretty sure I just heard a zombie, so it cannot be far. Oh, here we go. Yep, we got it. Let's get rid of you. All right, this looks quite scary. There is a skeleton down there too, which to be honest, I don't really feel like I am ready to fight just yet. Oh, there's an endman over there too. I think we should be fine, as long as we don't look at that guy, and as long as we don't venture too far into the tunnels. Don't really see how this can go wrong. But we do have coal, so going to make some torches, pop them in my offhand. And that is a lot better. We got some nice light already. All right, maybe this is a silly thing to do and I hope I don't regret it, but I am going to creep down the tunnel a little bit just in hopes that we can find a little bit of iron. I don't need much. I'll take 2 or 3 pieces. Okay, so we couldn't find iron in that small little cave just there. So, I am going to keep looking around the area for another opening. Oh, hello. What is this? Oh, there we go. That's looking more like it. Okay. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is only day 2. We are still running around with 0 armor, so things could go wrong pretty quick. Oh, but there we go. Iron. Okay. Let me ink this. 1, 2. Oh, we got 4. All right. I can see a little bit more, but I don't want to get too greedy, so we'll grab this and then we're going to head straight back up to the surface. Yes, so as soon as I finished digging that up, I seen this little booger heading straight towards us, so I am going to kindly take that as my sign to get the hell out of here. Oh, looks like we got some spiders blocking the way out, but you know what? Hey, I'll take the string. Oh, nice. We got 2 bits of string with that. Oh, I think if we kill this guy as well, that'll be enough for a fishing rod. Right, all right, 3 bits of string. That'll do me. Let's get out of here. Hang on a second. This is not the way out. Oh God, am I lost? What is that noise? Or wait, I think that's wolves on top of us. Oh God, it's night time. Tell you what, rather than go upstairs to a creeper, we are going to sleep in the cave tonight. Okay, rise and shine and time to get out of this little hole. Now I am praying that creeper doesn't just meet us at the top of this hole, which it hasn't. Okay, great. Bro, leave me alone. Nope. Oh God, please no, please no. Please no, that was a close one. I think that was nature's way of telling us to move on. But it looks like we have come to the edge of the forest here, and we are met with another lake. Oh, but look, I can see a village over there. We do, however, have a big lake cross. and I don't fancy getting my feet wet. So, I am going to craft this boat, and that should get us across nice and dry. All right. Looks like we are coming up to the back end of the village here, and got to be honest, seems like quite a small one. But hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get. I'm sure there's some good resources there. So, I am just going to park my boat on the side here and let's head up. So it looks like I was right. It is quite a small village, but we can't hit the jackpot here. Look at all these harebells. I love finding harebells early on. So, we'll pick all this up and pop it in a box for later. Unfortunately, doesn't seem that there's a blacksmith here, but I will take this smoker. That's going to come in handy later. So, I think other than a few harebells, we've not really gotten much from this place. But hey, it's free food. It's hard to complain. Oh, but hold on a second. Right at the top of that cherry blossom biome, I think I can see a little bit of bamboo poking out. Yee! I am going to head over and grab that, then we can start growing it nice and early. Oh woo! This place looks unreal. This is so pretty. Where's that bamboo though? I think it was over here, right? Yee! There it is. All right. Yoink. And yoink. All right. Bamboo acquired. Let us head back over to the village. No, actually, hang on a second. I didn't really pay too much attention to this island as we were going past by on a boat. That could be a pretty strong contender for a hardcore home, right? I'm going to head up to the top of this hill here and see if we can get a better vantage point. I mean, it's big. It's definitely secure. It's surrounded by water. And it even comes with animals. Yee! You know what? This really ain't too bad. We've got a little private beach area over here. Nice little bit of elevation going up that way. Whoa! It does look like we've got caves, though, but they don't seem to go too deep. This one's flooded with water, so we know that ain't going to be an issue. Oh, looks like we have another little passage here, but again, I mean, one torch, maybe two torches, and that's all lit up. That's already safe. Yee! You know what? I think we have just found our home. Let's make it official and mark our territory with the crafting table and furnace and bed, and while we're at it, we might as well stick a chest down. So, I finally found a place to call home in my hardcore world. But, it was obvious I wouldn't last long without some sustainable food. So, I decided I would create my first food farm on the side of the island. Just going to come around the side here and get all this area holed out. Now, I'm not sure how many wheat seeds we have. We have a grand total of 2. That ain't going to get us too far. Good thing we've got all this grass around us, though. So, I am going to grab some extra seeds while we can. There we go. We've got 9 wheat seeds now. So, let's get all these planted. And that should just about do it. Oh, we have 1 spare. Okay, that should just about do it. All right, so we got a little crop farm going, but we cannot stay just living under the sky forever. We are going to need to put an actual roof over our head at some point, but it's kind of hard to do that when all you have is 1 oak plank to your name. So, I think now would be a great time to head back into the spawn forest, where we can chop down some trees to grab a load of wood. Then, with all our freshly acquired wood, we can hop back in our boat and head back over to our island to begin our first build. And for our first build on the island, I think it would be a good idea to go for a little fisherman's shack over here. For one, I want to make use of this beautiful view, so it'd be nice to have a little dock coming out the side here where we can fish. So, I am going to get rid of this top layer of dirt here, that we've got enough room to get this thing built. Right, so, you can see here that we do actually have a decent little bit of space, and what we've done is marked out 4 corners of the fisherman's shack. Like I said, this is not going to be anything too big, but if we just pretend that we are walking through the middle here, We do have room for some nice chests around the side, plenty of space for a bed. So, I think this should do perfectly. So, what I am going to do is raise the sides up by 3 so that they are 4 tall, and I am quite a big fan of stripped wood. So, we'll go ahead and strip all of these logs. And I want to make sure we just keep things nice and simple to begin with. So, I'm going to go ahead and just make a nice triangle roof. And how about we add a little bit of interest in the middle here by adding some upside down stairs, followed by trap doors, a slab on top of both of them, and then an upside down stair to finish it off. You know what? I think that adds a nice little touch, but we don't want this entire thing to be made out of spruce. So why don't we just go along the middle of the roof section here and add in some oak? Now that I'm looking at it, I think we definitely made the right choice with the oak there. It's quite a small build, so I think all the little details do make quite a big difference. And speaking of details, I actually want to go around the bottom of the corners here and add in some nice barrels. I do love a good barrel. It just makes everything look so much better, doesn't it? And for the walls, I'm not going to do anything too complicated here. This is just a little fisherman's shack after all. So let's just go ahead and fill it all with oak planks, and we'll just cut some nice holes in the side for some little windows. Now, since we are still quite early on in the game, we don't have any glass, so we are just going to have to fill these holes in with fences for now. But, to be honest, I kind of like it. Gives a bit of a rustic vibe. Now, this is quite sad, but I am so poor that I do not even have enough planks to fill in the floor properly. So, we are going to have to go with half slabs here and just put a layer across the top like this. Alright, this is kind of embarrassing, but I was not kidding about being so poor that we couldn't even fill the floor in. I am pretty much completely out of wood at this point, so I've just came over to the forest here. You can see our little shack in the distance there, and this time I'm going to grab way more than I need so we don't have any more interruptions. Okay, we definitely have enough wood now, so I am going to finish the final details on this build and I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, so I may have gotten a little bit carried away, but our fisherman's shack is all complete. I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. We've got a nice pathway coming down the side here, and I moved our crops from down the hill there up next to the shack. I just thought it would be a nice little touch, and brings a good bit of life to the area. We got some fences and leaves coming around the side here leading towards the dock area. I really like this thing. I love how well it frames those mountains in the distance. And of course, last but not least, we have the fisherman's shack itself. I did just keep it all wood intentionally. You know, it is just an early build, and I think it represents that quite well, but we got some nice details in here. And I am especially fond of the chimney. I decided to leave the campfire at the top exposed, because I just like the animation of the flames. It just gives the build a little bit more life. But of course, this thing does also have an interior, so if we have a walk-on side, we didn't have too much space to work with, but I think we done pretty well here. We got a nice section for storage over here. We got a few stations here that are all going to come in handy. Little bit of greenery with some plants. And of course, it wouldn't be much of a fisherman's shack without a fishing rod, would it? So, I figured I would just keep that above the bed, and anytime we want to go fishing, we can simply just pop it off. And to be completely honest, I think now would be the perfect time to go fishing. I feel like a rest was definitely well earned. We'd finally set up a safe base to call home, and it was nice to have some time to relax, but the island itself still has a lot of work to be done. So, I call it a night so I could get an early start on cleaning this island up. What I want to do is find all of the areas in the island like this and cover them up. But before we do cover it up, we are going to have to put some torches down so that mobs don't spawn underneath us. Now, luckily, a lot of these little caves don't tend to go too far, so so we shouldn't be using up too many torches for this. And now that the torches are down, we can just bring the dirt across like this. Alright, that was actually pretty satisfying. You can see how much space we've filled in here by all of the bits of dirt. And the island is already feeling safer. But we do have this pretty big one here just around the back of the fisherman's shack. So let's go ahead and get all the torches in first. I'm just going to grab all of the ores that are down here too, because chances are they'll probably not come back here. I'm actually super glad we did that because we have almost a stack and a half of coal now, which is definitely going to come in handy. But now that we've gotten everything we can out of the caves, it is time to titty this thing up, and just like that we are done. That is looking so much better, and most importantly, it is looking a lot safer. But now, it is time for what I would probably consider to be the hardest bit. We need to decide what we are going to build, and where we are going to build it. This spot at the top of the island over here seems pretty obvious to be the best place for a house. You know, it's got the nice little natural elevation, and we can oversee the whole of the island from here, too. But that's only one build, and we have got a very big island here. So, what I've done is crafted a bunch of shovels, because I want to go all around the island creating little dirt paths like this. And the reason I want to do this is so we can just have a nice outline of where everything is going to go, almost like a little bit of a blueprint or a sketch. You know, we get the outlines in first and then all the details can come in afterwards. And I think this will just give us a nice indication of where everything's going to fit, and it should make our lives a lot easier, and I am all about that. Okay, so the paths are in and already the island is feeling much more cohesive. What I've done is left a big circle kind of shape in the middle, and we can use this space for a large animal pen later on. But then all the paths kind of feed around this central point here. We've got a little branch going off in this direction, and at the end there I'm going to put a nice big windmill, because all of these grassy bits that we've left in are going to be crop fields. And then of course, like I said, we are going to have the house over here, so it only makes sense that we leave a little bit of space here so that we can put something down like a horse stable. And on the other side of the house we have this path here, because at the end of this one, I would like something cute like maybe a greenhouse. I think all that would be really cool. And of course, we do have our little pathway heading down to the fisherman's shack there, so it all connects up nicely. But if you take a look at my hot bar, you will see I've crafted a load of spruce slabs, because next up, I want to go around the areas here and mark all of the crop fields in. And just like that, we have all of the outlines for the crop fields in. Now, again, I've left a big blank space in the middle because I do want to put a big animal pen there later on, and you will notice that certain pathways, like the one of the fisherman's shack, don't have any wood outlines on the side here, and that's because I want to mix it up a little bit. I do like the look of this here, where the crop fields are just like on the side of the pathway with no outline, so I'll be doing that for some parts. But we have got the entire island covered here all the way to the back there, but the one bit that I am struggling with is the top part here on the stones, where the house is going to go. I was trying to work on bringing some of these crop outlines up on a little bit of an incline, but I realized that it's not going to work until we pad this area out with either dirt or stone. And since we are still in the early game, and I don't want to smelt all of the cobblestone down into stone, I did grab a bunch of dirt. So, I think what I'll do is just bring the top layer up by one more using all of this dirt. We'll get a roof shape on the outside here. Something like this. I've just kind of followed the edge of the cliffside here and brought it around nicely and smoothly. Looks pretty natural for the most part. So, I'm going to get this filled in, and then we'll work on connecting the pathway up to the main area there. And that is just about done. I think it's looking cool, too. I am really happy with it. But I think now would be the perfect time to actually get some of these crop fields planted. I'm going to have to make sure I remember to stay on top of all this if we had to plant this entire island with fields. And there we go. That is our first little miniature field all sorted, and we're just at the other side now planting the potatoes. Quite a small farm this one, but hey, every little helps. And there we go. I think this is a solid bit of progress. We have the entire island mapped out now, got the build areas ready, and we've got our little crop farms doing their thing. My Iceland was finally seeing some good progress, but I didn't have all the crops needed for my soon-to-be fields. I still needed carrots, and our local village didn't have any for us, so I decided that I needed to tame a horse and go exploring. So, for the next few days, I went fishing for a saddle. Okay, so we were going to approach one of these goods. Is there another one over here? There is. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's loads up here. Actually, there's a guy over there. They all look pretty similar, but you know what? I think I like the look of this guy the most. Okay, let's try and tame this guy. Oh, and ye, thrown off immediately. Thrown off again. Okay, this could take a while. I'll see you in a second. Oh, there we go. Nice. Best friends forever. How about that? All right. Let's stick the saddle on you. All right. Please don't be a slow horse. Nice. Okay. This guy's actually pretty quick. Yee. This guy's safe. Okay. I do have these leads from a wandering trader who appeared earlier. What we are going to do is go straight past our island, and we'll bring up to the side of the mainland here. By the way, if you want to name this horse, feel free to leave a comment in the description, and I'll pick the best one for the next episode. But now that we are over here safely, I'm going to jump on my little unnamed horse, and we are going to head in this direction and begin the hunt for carrots. So, there are a couple of different ways we can get carrots, but if we want to keep things nice and simple and just see if we can find a village, we are going to have to venture out a little bit, but hopefully not too far. Oh, and look at that. There's a village on top of that hill, and look at the view up here. That's crazy. Oh, there's an abandoned nether portal down there, too. Maybe we can check that out later. This is the weirdest layout for a village I think I've ever seen. Pretty cool, though. It sprawls all the way down this hill, but I am starting to get a bit of a bad feeling that these guys are not farming carrots, to be honest. I don't think these guys are farming anything. How are you guys alive? You, there is no crop fields here. Oh god. Unless they eat the horses over there. Yee. Alright. I guess that one's a dud. We may as well check this nether portal while we are over here. Come on, give me something good. Oh, golden apple. I'll take it. I will take a golden helmet of protection for those. That looks a little bit silly, but hey, it's hardcore. You know, you can never be too safe. And we have been walking around in the complete nude up until this point. So, right off to the next village. Okay, this is quite a big one. Yes, we got a little crop farm. Got beetroot and carrot. Nice. All these guys have spoiled us. Okay, so we did manage to pick up 6 carrots, 30 hair bales, and of course on the way here we also got some melon slices, which is great. And we did get some beetroot too. All in all, pretty solid trip, but we now have 2,500 blocks to get back home. But as long as I am with unnamed horse, I think I should be fine. And there we go. Home sweet home. Hey, you know what? That ain't looking too bad from up here now. Alright, I am going to drop you off here, where the imaginary horse shack is going to hit you to this post for now. I promise I'm going to get a pretty cool shelter built for you soon. First things first, I want to get the carrots planted in this section here. So, with the carrots acquired and firmly planted into the ground, we know, had a new resident on the island, but he had no place to call his own home. So, I figured before doing anything else, it would be best to build this guy a nice horse stable. And since we've got the path coming in this direction here, we probably want one of the corners to start around about there. Then we can leave a nice wide gap at the front. But the sides, they don't really need to go back as far. So let's say we'll put one there. And we put the last one here. Yay! Those dimensions seem about right to me. So from these corners, I want to go around and place a granite wall on top of each one. And then from the walls, I just want to go up by 3 with a spruce fence. And next up, I did craft these dark up trap doors because I want to run them along the top here, so it's like a little roof line. So we're just going to bring these all the way along, and then we'll have it sticking out by 1, just like that. And you're probably thinking, well, it looks a little bit silly because it's so thin, but if we go to the top here, then we can stack another layer on top of the ones that we've just put down. And then you're left with this kind of really cool half block, but not quite a half block kind of look. I really like it anyway. I think it looks great. And then what I want to do is to create a nice little archway of slabs going up to the top. And I think this is the center block, so we'll put one there, and then we can just create the same on the other side. So we've got a nice shape like that now, but I think you've seen enough and can probably tell where I am taking this thing, so let's skip ahead. There we go. We are just waiting for this area to grow in now, but I do hope our friend likes his new home. Once we get some lanterns, we can eventually hang them from the ceiling here, but right now, we are kind of broke. But hey, look, this is actually starting to come together a little bit. We got a fisherman's shack, we got the horse stable, we got the farms coming in, and here, all in all, pretty good progress. But building this thing meant I was neglecting my own island duties, and I still had a lot of things to get done, so I turned my attention to the middle of the island, and as I've said a few times already, I just want this big kind of patch in the middle to be one large animal pen. Now, I don't want to put too much thought into this. I want to keep it kind of random, so I'm just going to go around the outside with some oak logs first. Luckily, the path here already kind of gives us our shape, and I'm just leaving gaps in the middle here because we'll fill them in with things like spruce fence and spruce logs, which I'll probably strip as well so it matches the oak a little bit better. And there we go. We've got a pretty decent shape in. I'm quite happy with this. Goes all the way around and comes over the top, and then all the way back down to form the circle, but without anything on top of these logs. Animals are going to be able to get out quite easily, and we definitely don't want that, so I crafted a bunch of slabs and a bunch of stairs as well, so I can just run them across the top. And again, I'm going to keep it all fairly random so that we can come back in with the spruce slabs as well as the spruce stairs. So it'll look something like that. Hey, that's much better. And I did craft 2 fence gates because I feel like this is just kind of the natural entrance to this thing. So this is officially the front. There we go. We are mostly finished, but I am just going to clear the little bits of grass off the top here. I am thinking that we should just run a fence along here, and then that just kind of gives us a really nice divide through the middle of the pen. And then what we can do is we can just have the top half here for cows, and then the bottom half down here can be for something else like sheep. Now, luckily, we do have plenty sheep wandering the island already, so we can just let these guys in. Now, I did definitely see some more earlier, but I think they may be hiding from me. Oh, there he is there. I think he was trying to make a run for it, but you left it too late. Mate, you are getting imprisoned for life, unfortunately. I would say, you know, as far as animal conditions go, I mean, these are going to be free-range sheep, right? It's a pretty big space, and they'll probably get fed more stairs until I forget about them
separation
So
from the edge of
it
the
could be
roof
worse.
to the edge of this
Let
wall.
me
And
just
then next
grab
we'll go
one more
up by
bit of
one
wheat
full
from the
block,
farm
but
here.
instead of
This
going
is
up by
growing in
another
nicely,
full block,
by the
what I'm
way.
going to do is
This
place
is already
a stair
starting
instead.
to
And
look
if we just go
really
into free
cool,
cam here, you
but
can already see that's quite
anyway,
a cool looking
we
curve.
can
It will look
feed
more
these
pronounced as
two.
well as we
And drum
gradually
roll,
make our way
we
up to
got
the
a
top.
baby.
So because this
All
roof is
right,
going to be quite
but
steep,
that I
I'm
would
going to
say
bring this
is the
section
easy
up by
part.
2 full
We've
blocks.
got the
So it
sheep
looks
in,
like this
but
is the
now
center
we
block, so
need
this
some
is the halfway
cows.
point of our
Now,
roof, which again is why I
unfortunately,
like building
I
at
don't
odd
think
numbers.
we
Now I'm
have
just going
any
to head to the
cows on
bottom
the
here and see what
island,
that looks like.
but
Yeah,
there
that
are
is a
plenty
really
over in
nice
the
slope.
spawn
It always looks a
forest
little bit
that I
strange when you're
spotted
missing the other
earlier.
half. But I'm going
Okay,
to get
now
that
I
half
do
and the
remember
back
them
section
being
done,
quite
and we
close to
should
the
have a
shore.
nice roof
There's
outline.
one.
You know what?
We
That
are
is
not
looking
really
pretty
going
sick.
to
It's
get
quite a
very
little bit
far
bigger than I
with
thought it was
one
going to be,
dog.
but
Got
I
to
think
be
it kind of
another one
works.
around
But I think
here.
I finally know what we're working with now.
Dogs,
So let's
hang
finally
on.
build this house.
Pretty sure I've got in my inventory. How many bones does this usually take? Please don't be more than 3. 1, 2. Oh, yes. All right. Lovely. You can come with me. Nice little bums. And there is a second cow over there. Come on. This way, you do. This way to the port. Ladies, let's just make our lives a little bit easier and jump over here. Beautiful stuff. That wasn't too difficult, was it? Then we can just feed these
And
goods.
there we go,
And
the
second
house
battery
is
farm is
finally
complete.
finished. Or at
So,
least the
I
outside
have
of it is. It
asked
still doesn't have an
everybody to leave a
interior.
comment
And
to
oh
name
boy,
the
that
horse,
took a
but
long,
I want
long
to
time.
name
I've
the
just spent
dog
half of my
myself.
Saturday building
I've
this
got a
thing, but
fluffy
hey,
guy
what
of
else are
mine,
weekends for,
own
you
in
know? Now
real
this
life.
house is inspired
His
by
name
my
is
friend
Dell,
Blockdown
and
from
this
his
is us
hardcore
together.
series, who
So
I did
it only
gain permission
feels
from
right
before
that I named this little guy after
ripping it
him,
off.
but
So
we
big
don't have
thanks to
enough
him,
iron
and check
to
him
use
out
a
if you
name
haven't
tag.
already.
So
I'm
that
really,
will have
really
to
happy
wait.
with this thing.
With
We
all
got
the
some
new
nice details
farms,
in there.
this
The
island
signs,
was
plenty
finally
barrels, of
feeling
course.
fully
We've got this nice little
sustainable,
overhang,
which meant
to
it
be
was
honest, I'm
time
not quite sure
to
what we're
build
going to put into
myself
this
a
yet, but
house.
it'll be
But I
something. And my
wanted to
favourite bit
use
is
deep
definitely
slate,
the tower
and
coming
I
out the
needed
top
some
there. I
better
love that. We
tools
got
to
some
dig
nice
it
little
up
cozy
faster.
windows in the
So
roof,
it
and
was time
overall
to
I
build
think
our
all of the
first mine
blocks ended
shaft
up
to
working
find a
super
cave,
well together.
get
But
some
like I said,
upgrades, and
this
solve
thing
this
has
problem.
zero
So
interior,
I
and
am
it's going to
thinking
be
of
so
doing
nice
is
to
just
finally have a
making a
place to
little
put all of our
entrance here,
things. I'm going to
and
show
then
you
at least
exactly
it's
how bad
not
the
getting in
storage
the way of
situation has
anything
got,
up
and
top.
exactly why we
So
need this house
I
right
am
now.
just
So,
going
as
to
you're
go
aware, the
ahead
Fisherman
and
Shack
clear
has
out
got
a
a few
small
barrels, got a
space in
few
the
chests.
hillside.
It's
And
fine,
then
gets
what
the
we can
job done.
do in
But I
each
have been
corner
so
is pillar up a
overflowing
little
with
bit,
junk that I've
and
had to make a
then
little
we'll
hole
just
around
do
the
the
back of
log
the
running
hut just to
across the
cram
middle
chests in.
here.
I
Get
actually
it
find
all
this very
nice and
embarrassing.
stripped.
It's not
And
organised
you were
whatsoever.
probably
It's a complete
sensing a
mess.
pattern
So yeah,
here,
having this
but what is a
gigantic
nice
house is
wooden
definitely
build
going to
without some
alleviate that
barrels?
issue. Oh,
That
and
looks
another thing,
pretty
I have
cool
been
so
tending to
far,
the crops while
though.
building this thing.
But
So we've
I
got
do
a
want
nice
to
field
have
of
like a
carrots now.
little
The wheat is
archway
obviously
across
grown
the
in quite
top.
nice, and we got
So I'm
loads of
just
potatoes
going to
over
roll
here.
with
So
a
that's our
design
little
that I
update.
use
I
quite
still need to do
often,
the
which is
interior on this
basically
thing. I
just a
still need
mix
to
of
move all the chests
stairs,
over from the little hole
slabs,
in the
and
ground over there.
trapdoors.
So yeah,
Get
I'm going
some
to get
on
to
the
work,
sides
and
here,
I'll bring it back
too.
when I'm done.
All
And that
right,
is the
not going
interior
to
all
lie.
finished up.
I kind of
did
got a
also
little
put an
bit
extra crop
carried
field
away
at the
here,
front here to
but I
fill up the
didn't do
grass.
too
And
much.
over here,
I
under our
basically
little
just
gazebo,
covered the walls
umbrella,
and covered
whatever
the
you would call
ceiling
this.
and
I just
connected
decided
it
to
all
chuck
up
some
with
barrels
some
and
spruce
chests down, but
signs. I
quite
thought
simple,
it kind
and I
of
think it
just
looks
looked
pretty
well
cool.
a
But
bit
let me
more of
show
a
you
mine,
what we've got
really,
going on inside.
but I did
So,
leave some
first
space
things
in the
first,
middle,
when you come
and
through
this
the
is
front
where
door
I
here, you
want
start
to
off in
dig
the
down
living
and
space.
create a
We've got a
ladder
nice dining table in the
chute.
middle
We'll
here.
probably
You know,
change
got my
this
dinner
at
right
some
there.
point in
Nice
the
loaf of
future
bread.
to
We
be
got
a
some
bubble
ornaments dotted
system.
around. We
But
got a
for
nice
now,
arch on the
this
roof
will
here,
do.
which I think came
And then
out
what
really well.
I'll
And then
do
of
is
course at the back
extend it
there we
out
do
so
have the
it's too
kitchen, which is
wide,
semi-functional.
and then
Now
we
we got
can
some
very
furnaces, we
safely
got
go all the
storage,
way
crafting
down.
table,
All
tools
right,
hanging on the wall,
we
you
are
know,
pretty
all the good
low
stuff.
down
And
at
we
this
do have that
point.
beautiful
We
view
are
out the
on
back there of the hills.
43,
But if we
and
come
I
away from
keep
the kitchen
hearing
area, we
skeletons
do have
rattle
a little
through
storage
here.
room
I
here.
think
It is
we
quite
were
small for
just on
now,
the
but I
edge of
do
a
plan on
cave.
maybe extending it by a little
Okay,
ladder going down into a
cobblestone.
basement section there. there.
Hang
but we'll
on.
cross that bridge when we
Is
get
this
to it. And again,
actually,
just got
is
some
this
nice
a spawner
decorations laying
instead?
about. And we've
Don't
got another
really
furnace,
need a
a
skeleton
blast furnace,
spawner,
a
but I
smithing
do
table
kind of
for
want
later
the
on,
look.
and another crafting
So,
bench. Then
what
over
I
in this
want to
direction,
do
we've
is
just got
kind
some
of sneak
storage on
around
both
the
sides of
sides
the wall,
here
but some
and
nice
just
greenery in
grab
the
the
corner
loot
there. And
chests.
this is
I
the
think
spiral
we were
staircase
right
that
on the
goes
edge
up
of a
to the
chest
second
here.
floor. So if we
Yee,
just pop up
we
here,
are.
we're taken to a nice landing area. Where
What
again,
have we
we've got more
got?
storage,
We got
some
two
more
name
very scenic
tags.
views out the
Nice.
windows. And then we have
A
this
little
doorway
bit
here
of
that
gold.
takes us into the
Some
bedroom.
iron.
This is probably
Not
my
bad.
favourite room of the
I'll
house. I just
take the
love how
bones.
spacious it feels.
Oh,
We got the
and a
triple
golden
deluxe
apple.
king size bed
Nice.
there, and then
But
straight
there is
opposite
one
we've got
more
a nice
chest.
little study area, the
So,
left turn in the middle.
I'm going
and again,
to try going
we've got
around
more
this
views.
side
I'm
and
quite a big fan of
hopefully
how the
we
ceiling
can do
turned
the
out in this
same
one
little
too. I know it
sneaking
doesn't make
approach.
too much
What we
sense to
got?
have
Oh,
struts
we
on
got
a
a
peaked
muzzic
roof like this,
disc.
but
A
hey,
horse
Minecraft
farmer.
doesn't really
Love
matter.
to
And then
see
we've got
it.
one final
We can
doorway
give that to
leading
unnamed
into
horse.
a big
Pumpkin
empty room, but it
seeds.
won't be empty for
Don't
long.
really
I do
need
plan on
them,
putting a
but I
full
will take
enchanting
the
station
extra
in here,
iron.
but currently
I'll
as it
take the
stands, I don't
extra
really have any
bones.
tools to do that with.
Go
So
on then.
I think that will
I'll
be for
have a
a
little
later
bit of
adventure.
bread
Kinda
as
gives
well
us
as
something
my
to look
golden
forward to, though,
apple.
so
I
quite happy
suppose
with
we
just
could
leaving this
use
room for now.
this
But I must
later
say, I
on
think this one's probably got the best view out of the whole house. So that is the house. We've got the outside done, and we've finally got the inside done. And I'm not kidding when I say this has literally took all weekend. I don't know how it's took so long, but it has. But I am quite slow at Minecraft, so no surprise there. So with my house all complete, it just made me realise that we still have most of the farming areas empty. But I wanted to change it up a little bit and add flower fields instead of crop farms. So I ventured back across the river in search for rose bushes, peonies and lilacs. And I've already spotted some peonies over there. So we're off to a pretty good start. Let me just park the boat and run over here. Alright, that gives us 11. Oh, no, it doesn't. It gives us 13. No, it gives us 14. And immediately I've just spotted some lilacs over there too. Oh, there's quite a lot here as well. So it looks like we've got over 20, which is pretty cool. I'll take that. So all we really need now are these rose bushes, and there they are, right in front of us. I was actually hoping I would get like maybe a few minutes worth of content out of this, but yeah, that went a lot quicker than I thought it would. Thought maybe we'd have a little adventure. I can probably understand the issue I'm about to bring up here. We don't even have half a stack of each flower, and we have got a lot of space to fill in here. And the quickest way to resolve that is by getting bone meal. And I know what you're thinking, there's a lot of wheat around here, we can quite easily shove this into a composter, but I don't really want to do that. What I want to do instead is go back down to that skeleton spawner that we found earlier on in the adventure and turn it into a fully functional bone meal farm. Alright, first things first, we want to make sure we can get some torches in there so that we don't get overwhelmed. If we can minimise the spawns before we even go in there, we should have a better chance of not dying. I really should have brought a shield as well. Do we have any wood? Okay, I can't even craft a shield, and I ain't going all the way back up there for one either. So, let's just hope for the best here. Oh, I don't even have a sword.
My poor little stone pickaxe looks like it's about to break, though. So I think we are going to start off with a nice iron pick.
I don't really like it here. Let's make sure nothing creeps up on us. Okay, area is secure, so I'm just going to knock these walls back and make a nice spawning chamber. Okay, 9x9 space has been dug out, so looking good. Right, we need to create a water source that goes from this end to that end. So let's do that here. And yep, that stops one block on the edge here, so that is perfect. So then next I will just dig out this little section here, then just one more bucket in this direction. And this is probably a really bad idea, but I am just going to dig straight down and hopefully we don't fall into any. Oh god, that was horrible.
I am feeling a lot more confident now.
And then next, what we can do is take our chest, pop it down there, stick a hopper on top of that, and just to make sure we're nice and safe, get a nice stone slab separating us from the mobs. Okay, that is pretty much done. So I'm just going to craft some ladders so we can get out of here. I've dug into diamonds, and we only have a stone pickaxe. This is an absolute nightmare. Okay, we got this though. We just have to craft a furnace real quick. We don't even have any coal. Alright, screw it. Spruce logs will have to do. Stick some raw iron in there, and we should be good. Why do I always feel so underprepared for everything? Come on, baby.
I'm going to slowly move up, but I want to be careful of all the ledges here because if a creeper drops
I can't even pick them up, my inventory's too full.
It is pretty much
you know what,
game over.
We'll come back for it. Let's just hope we don't have any lava fall down on our heads. Okay, I didn't even intend for this. Like, this looks like it was planned out, but I swear it was not. This is actually lined up perfectly with our ladders. We've just put them on the wrong side of the walls. So we can just continue to come down our usual ladder and take it straight down into there. But now for the scary part, I need to reach that torch. And actually, you know what, we don't have to go too far. We're in there already.
At least we know this ledge up here is safe for now, though.
And even though I don't have a sword, look at this, it works.
Down so that stays that way.
Hey, that ain't too bad at all. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, first of all, thank you. But second of all, comment the word marshmallow so I know who the real MVPs are. And just like that, we already have 3 bones. Alrighty, the bone zone is officially complete. But hey, this place is a little cramped, so I'm going to head back up to the surface, grab some resources, and give this place a makeover. And here is the reveal. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's really kind of cozy. I didn't do much because, well, to be honest, it doesn't really need much. But we got some chests in the wall here, which I'm going to use for bones, and we've got some chests in the wall on the other side, which I'm going to use for anything else that could drop, like armor or weapons. And funnily enough, my favourite thing is the single lantern. I love the moody atmosphere that it creates down here, because, you know, killing skeletons in a hole hundreds of meters underground is not really a jolly thing to do, is it? And we got a little crafty bench in the middle, so yeah, what more could a man need? So I'm going to put this thing to good use, and then we'll finally go upstairs and finish those farms off. Okay, I have been at this for quite some time now, so if we have a look in our box, you can see that we've got quite a lot of bones actually. That is about 13 stacks of bones that we've got. So I'm going to head back up to the island and grow myself some flowers. Oh, fresh air. I always love coming out of that tunnel. Feels great. Alrighty, where did I put these flowers? I'm pretty sure I just dumped them in this chest right here. Yeah, there we go. We got the rose bushes, we got the lilacs, and we got the peonies. Lovely stuff. Now I do want to make sure that out we get these in the right place so it looks cool.
Before
and
we
so
do
after having a
anything,
little
though, I
walk
did
around
get
the
a
island,
present
I
for this
think
guy
this
while I
patch
was
right
down
here would be a great place for these rose bushes. So I'm just going to plant one for now, and then that's kind of mark the area so we know that we're going to fill this whole thing in. And I really think it would look cool that when we're walking down to the fisherman's shack, we're surrounded by rose bushes on both sides. So I think I'm also going to place them on this section here, and then what I'll probably end up doing is just filling this area in down there with wheat. I think that'll be a really nice contrast. That'll look cool. Okay, so we've got these spots for the rose bushes, and next up I want to do the peonies. And I kind of think we've got too much wheat over here. So what I'm going to do is clear this one in the middle here, and then we can use this section for the peonies. I think that'll break the area up quite nicely. But if we come back around to this side of the island, there is this section here, which again I think is going to be a great place for some flowers. So since we've got the peonies in our hand, we will go with that. Let me just place one down. Great, there's another section marked out, and again that's going to wrap all the way around the side there. And I suppose that doesn't really leave us with many more places. So what I'm going to do is straight off onto the next section here. We will place the lilacs. We've got a nice large area. I think that'll look good. Oh, and actually having the peonies, the lilacs, and the rose bushes right next to each other will probably look really nice. So yeah, let's roll with another rose bush section here, and I'm pretty sure that is going to be everything laid out nicely. Okay, so I'm going to come over to our little rose bush here, and it is time to start making some bone meal. I'm going to start with 3 stacks for now and see how far that gets us. But yeah, this bit might take a little bit of time. Okay, we have our 3 stacks of rose bushes from that, and to be honest, I think that should probably be enough. So yeah, let's start getting this stuff placed down, and hopefully it looks as good as I'm thinking it's going to look, because that's going to be pretty awkward if it doesn't. And oh my days, it actually looks better than I thought it was going to look. Look at how much life this gives the area. I love it. This looks brilliant. I haven't finished it yet. There's still quite a bit more to go, but I think what I'm going to do is just craft all of this bone meal up, and this seems like the perfect time for a time lapse.
For the ground floor. I'm going to use this for the top floor, and then I've got a nice mix of white blocks here that we can use as a tower coming out the top of the house. And these deep slate blocks over here, these are going to be to fill the roof in. So now that we have a plan, I'm going to get rid of all of these blocks because they were in the build site, and then we can get started. Now, I like to work with odd numbers when I am building houses. That way there's a nice center block of each little part that we build. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come along by 7. So this is going to be one side of the house. Then what I want to do is have a middle section here, and then we get this nice protruding bit on the front of the house to add a bit more interest. And if we just pop into free cam for a second, you can kind of see what I am going for here. So we've kind of got 3 sections to the main house. We've got the 2 bits on the side and the little bit at the front where the entrance is going to be. All right, the next bit should be nice and easy. We are just going to round it all off and get it connected around the back here. And there we go, nice and simple, very symmetrical. I know some people wouldn't be into that,
you know,
but
I can hardly put into words how satisfying this feels. To finally see all of the crop fields placed down feels incredible. The flowers are doing exactly what I wanted them to do, and just adding a nice splash of different colours to the area. If we just go into free cam here as well, you can see the aerial view just looks stunning. I definitely think the rose bushes are my favourite, but I've got to say those peonies are probably close second. But we are not finished yet. I have left some empty space over here because it doesn't feel right growing all of these different types of crops and not having a windmill. That is exactly what we're going to put here. Oh, and also while we're over this side of the island, how good do all these carrots look over here. Probably one of my favourite bits of the island. I'm a big fan of this. I think it looks great right by the water there. But yeah, like I said, windmill will go here, and if we just do a little jump, we can see another patch of grass over there. So this is the front entrance to this little section over here, which is just right by the house. And I have marked out some logs for what I would like to act as a base for a nice greenhouse. Again, just kind of like the soon-to-be windmill over there. I feel like it just naturally fits into this type of island, you know? What I'd ideally like to do later on when we've got silk touch is grab a bunch of bees, and we can have them kind of living in this greenhouse pollinating the rest of the area. And since this is definitely going to be the smaller of the 2 builds, I think we should build the greenhouse first. So if we just pop back into our house over here, I've already got all the materials ready to go for this. We got some spruce logs, we got some dark oak, we got some glass of course, and there's a bunch of bone meal in here because I would prefer to make this glass white. I just think it looks a little bit better. Now these 4 corners here are going to be the main greenhouse, and then these 2 on the front will just be like a nice little entrance.
another
So what we'll
full
do
block.
is we'll start
What
in these
I'm going
corners,
to
and
do
I'll bring it
is
up by,
place
I
a
would say about
stair there
5 blocks. So we've
instead.
got 6 in total.
Now,
And we're going
if
to
we
do this
just
in
go
all
into
of the
free
corners.
cam here,
Whoops, I think I've
you can
miscounted one
already
there.
see that's quite a cool looking curve. It will look
Got it.
more
Yeah, there we go.
pronounced
Something
as
like
well
that
as
is
we
a pretty
gradually
decent
make our
size.
way
Nice and simple
up
here.
to the
All we're
top.
doing is filling
So
in each
because
block
this
left to
roof is
right.
going
And there
to
you
be
go. That
quite
is
steep,
looking kind of cool
I'm
already,
going to
actually. I
bring
really like
this
that. Okay,
section up
even though
by
I just
2
said I
full
really like that,
blocks.
I just went
So
online to
it
grab the
looks like
connected
this is the
textures
center
texture
block.
pack. And now all of the
So
glass kind
this
of
is
just
the
blends into
halfway
one
point
big
of
window
our
pane.
roof,
Right, I think we've
which
got a pretty
again
good
is
baseline
why I
here.
like
So I'm
building
going to
in
finish
odd
the rest
numbers.
off, and I'll bring you
Now,
back in a second.
I am
And
just
I
going
think
to
we
head
have
to the
done
bottom
quite
here and
well
see
there.
what
That looks
that
really
looks
cool.
like.
Kind of looks like it's just sitting
That
perfectly in
is
the
a
crop
really
fields over
nice
there.
slope.
And it just
It
looks cool
always
from
looks a
pretty much
little
any
bit
angle that I
strange
look
when
at
you
it
are
from,
missing
which is
the
what you
other
want,
half,
you know? You don't
but
want to
I am
build that
going
just
to
looks
get
good
that
from one
half
angle.
and the back
So let me
section
show you
done.
inside this thing.
And we
It
should
is
have a
kind of
nice
small,
roof
you know?
outline.
There's not much I
You
can
know
fit in here,
what? That
but
is
with the space that we
looking
do
pretty
have, I think
It's
we've done
quite a
alright.
little
We're
bit
kind of limited
bigger
on
than I
flowers
thought it
too.
was
I mean,
going to
pretty
be.
much just filled it with
But
what's
I think
already
it
on the
kind of
island. But
works.
hey, as
But
I
I think
venture
I
out more
finally
and,
know
you know,
what
see
we
the
were working
world,
with now.
we'll bring back some
So
exotic
let's
plants to store in
finally
here.
build
And
this
at some point,
house.
what I'll probably do
Muzzet,
is
and
replace
there
that
we
top
go.
shelf
The
with
house is
beehives. Like I
finally
said, I
finished.
do want bees in here
Or
later,
at
but
least the
for now,
outside
we
of
don't
it
have
is.
silk touch,
It
so we
still
can't carry the
doesn't have an
beehives. But
interior,
yeah, this
and oh
looks
boy,
really
that
nice.
took
And
a
it's a
long,
build
long
that I
time.
think just
I've
makes
just
sense.
spent
And it's
half of
definitely
my
not super
session
functional
building
yet,
this
but
thing.
once the
But
bees are in
hey,
there,
what
it
else
will
are
serve a
weekends
purpose.
for,
But you know what?
know?
I just love
Now,
how well
this house is
everything has come
inspired by
together.
my
We got a
friend
house, we got the
Blockdown
whole
from his
stable, we got
hardcore
the animal
series,
farm,
who
we
I
got the
did
crop
gain
fields, we got
permission
the
from
flower
before
fields, we got
on
the
ripping it
greenhouse,
off.
and we got the
So
mines over
big
there,
thanks
which I
to
still
him,
need to
and
make
check
an
him
entrance
out
to.
if you
Oh, and we
haven't
got the fisherman
already.
shack
I
down
am
there too.
really,
But yeah, to
really
me, this
happy
just
with
feels
this thing.
super
We
lively.
got
And it
some
is
nice
finally time
details
to
in
build
there
the
for the
final thing
signs.
on this
Plenty
entire island.
borrows, of
This has been a
course.
long
We
time
got
coming.
this nice
Honestly, as
little
much as I'm
overhang,
enjoying
which, to
this,
be
I'm kind of
honest,
happy to be
I'm
in the
not
home
quite
stretch
sure
now so
what
we can
we were
move on
going
to
to
more
put under
projects.
this
But
yet,
I've gone
but
ahead
it'll
and
be
collected
something. And
everything
my
we're going to need
favorite
for
bit
this.
is
I
definitely
don't know
the
what they're doing
tower
in there.
coming
Just
out of
ignore
the
them.
top there.
And that.
I love that
and
we
that.
got some
Yeah,
nice
okay. I
little
might have dumped a
coin
lot of crap in
windows
here,
in the
but
roof.
the most important
And
thing is we have
overall,
everything we
I
do
think
need for the
all the
windmill.
blocks
So I think
ended
for
up
the final
working
time this
super well
episode, we
together.
are going to
But
jump
like
to
I
another
said,
time lapse.
this thing has zero interior, and it's going to be so nice to finally have a place to put all of our things. I am going to show you exactly how bad the storage situation has got and exactly why we need this house right now. So, as you are aware, the fisherman's shack, it's got a few barrels, got a few chests, it's fine, gets the job done. But I have been so overflowing with junk that I have had to make a little hole around the back of the hut just to cram chests in. I actually find this very embarrassing. It's not organized whatsoever. It's a complete mess. So, yay, having this gigantic house is definitely going to alleviate that issue. Oh, and another thing, I have been tending to the crops while building this thing, so we've got a nice field of carrots now. The wheat is obviously
And
brown
that
and
is
quite
the
nice.
final build
And we
of
got
the island
loads of
complete,
potatoes
and I
over
am
here.
so happy
So
with how it
that's our
looks. I
little
think it's
update.
really tied the
I
area
still
together.
need to
No matter
do the
where you stand
interior
on the
on this
island,
thing.
this
I
thing is
still
always
need to
poking out
move
looking
all the
cool. You can
chests
even
over
see it
from
down
the
here at the
little hole
fisherman
in the
shack, which I
ground
think
over
is
there.
maybe one of the best
So
views of it
yeah, I'm
actually.
going
But
to get
let's
to
take a
work and
closer
I'll
look,
bring
because we
you
do have
back
an
when
interior
I'm
on
done.
this thing.
And
So
that is
if
the
we just come through the
interior
front
all
door here,
finished
we
up.
are
I
greeted
did
with a
also
storage
put an
room,
extra
which is where I'm
crop
going to be
field at
storing
the front
all of
here
the
to
crops
fill up
from
the
our
grass,
island.
and
These are
over
all
here
double
under
chests as
our
well. They go
little
back one extra
inspo
block. So
umbrella,
ironically, that is
whatever you
probably
would
bigger
call
than my
this.
current
I
storage room,
just
but we do
decided
have a
to
lot of
chuck
crops.
some
Now
barrels
I've
and
also
chests
got a ladder
down,
in the middle
but
here,
quite
so if we go up
simple, and I
this,
think
it will
looks
take us to
pretty
the middle
cool.
floor,
But
and
let me
outside
show
we've
you
just got a
what
nice
we've
little
got
walkway.
going on
Nothing too
inside.
special, but we
So,
get a decent view.
first
Nice view of the
things
river
first,
there. And then
when
if
you
we go
come through
back
the
into the
front door
windmill,
here,
go up
you
another
start
level.
off
Again,
in the
there's
living
nothing too exciting
space.
going on
We've
inside
got
this
a
thing,
nice
but if you have any
dining
ideas of
table
what I
in
can
the
put in
middle
there,
here.
please
You
let me know
know,
in the
got
comments.
my dinner
But
right
if we go
there.
out this final
Nice
doorway
loaf of
here,
bread.
we are
We
greeted
got
with
some
the best
ornaments
view
dotted
on the
around.
island. look at this. You can see everything from up here, including that little bald patch of rock, which looks kind of ugly. But ignoring that, we do have this stunning view of everything that we've built this episode. And I've just come back over to the fishing shack here, because before we finish up on the island, there are just a few small touches that we need to finish. Like, for example, we don't have any stairs on some of the hills, so I'm just going to fill all of these with cobblestone slabs. We do also have some spots by the windmill that need filling, so going to get them done as well. And then finally, what I would like to do is create a few lampposts, just so we can make sure that the island is all safe and scare off all of those monsters. And besides that, I think it's just quite a cozy thing to do, and I think that means we can get rid of these ugly torches on the horse stable and hang a nice lantern in the middle. There you go, that looks much better. And while I'm in the mood, I think it's finally time that we move all of this rubbish into the house. And of course, we're going to do this all super neatly. And you know what? That feels like a job well done. We'll call it a day there, and I'll see you on the next one.